Hello everybody, my name is Tessie and I'm here with the Aurora Public Library. Today, as part of our Making Magic craft series, we are going to be making a rainbow paper wind chime. So the instructions for making the rainbow paper we got from the Science Kiddo blog, who we put the link of the blog post in the video description below, and it's a really fun craft, really easy. And this wind chime you can make with a lot of things that you just have laying around at home, so it's a really fun, easy, and simple craft. And so next I'm going to show you the materials that you need to make this wind chime, and then I'll show you how to make the rainbow paper and then the wind chime itself. So for our materials today for our rainbow mobile, so we have a few things. Most of these you can find at home or you can substitute. So we have the black construction paper, which is the black construction paper and the clear nail polish. So I have gel nail polish, which isn't the best, so if you can just find like a top coat or just any kind of clear nail polish, that will be your best bet. And those two are the most important to make the rainbow paper. You need a cup of water, like it doesn't matter what kind of water, but I recommend a small cup. And then for the mobile itself, you're going to need popsicle sticks or just something that you can hold the mobile at the top, some string. You can cut the string depending on how long you want your mobile to be. I've been cutting it about a foot and a half, and then you'll need scissors, some paper towels just so you can dry your construction paper after you've dipped it into the nail polish. And then for my mobile I'm using beads, but you can basically use whatever you have in the house. So any bits and pieces that you think might look nice when it hits the sunlight, like I have some glitter beads and some of these clear beads to create a nice effect, but whatever you have that's easy to tie on the string, I recommend beads. But if you're using anything else like rocks or shells, you can use those as well, but you'll need a hot glue gun to help secure them. And those are basically all the materials that you're going to need for today's craft. So really simple and stuff you could just find around the house. So for our first step, we are going to be making the rainbow paper part of the wind chime. So this is great because after you finish, you'll have very reflective pieces in your wind chime that looks really nice, blowing in the breeze. But the rainbow paper, it's a really cool concept that the science behind it a little bit is, if you know, it's not like rainbows. So rainbows are caused by refraction, while the rainbow paper that we're making are more like soap bubbles. So soap bubbles, like the colors in soap bubbles, are from thin film interference. And so that's when you have a really thin film and light goes through it, white light goes through it, and part of it is bounced right off, reflected right off, and part of it is reflected off the second layer, the inside that's closer to the paper. And so this just causes that kind of iridescent shimmer with the changing light. If you want to try an experiment with soap bubbles themselves, so where you see the kind of green blue light, that's where the film is thickest, and where it's magenta and yellow, that's where you kind of get a thin film. So if you take a soap bubble and kind of blow on it, you can change the colors of it as well. So that's kind of a really simple experiment where you can see thin film interference. But to make this rainbow paper or soap bubble paper, all you have to do is go ahead, you'll want to put 1 or 2 drops of the clear nail polish into the water, and then very quickly dip the paper in. Okay, so this side we didn't get so much, but this side we got a good amount. And so you can see that reflective shimmer of the nail polish creating a thin film, and then we just put it aside to dry. And then we'll do that with a couple, so sometimes it takes a little bit to get the hang of it. And I'm using gel nail polish, so it's not as great as if you have something that's more liquidy. And what it'll do is that after you put the drop in, the nail polish kind of spreads as a thin film all over the water. Yeah, that one came out very nicely. Except on this side, mostly this side. It's sticking to my finger. Just set it aside, we'll try one more. And you can make as many of these as you like. I recommend small pieces of paper and 2 to 3 drops of nail polish for each one. Dipping it in. This one didn't spread as far. We only got a little bit. But you can keep trying until you get one or a couple that cover the whole paper, like this one, which I did really well. And there is your rainbow paper. So super simple, but really pretty when it turns out, when you're all finished. So the last step of our rainbow paper wind chime is to actually construct the different strands of wind chime. So here's an example that I've pre-made. I've added beads, and then I've added the rainbow paper as well. So this part is pretty easy. There's no set way to go about it. You can have the strings as long as you want them to be, and you can have, I use beads, but like I said at the beginning of the video, you can basically use whatever household items that you'd want. If you have items that are made out of metal, it'll make a lot more noise as a wind chime. But I'm using beads because I think they're pretty, and that's what I have laying around. But what you can do is go ahead, you'll put your first bead or your first object, and I am just double knotting these on. If you want it to be more secure and you have access to a hot glue gun, after you double knot it, you can secure the knot with just a small drop of hot glue, and that usually helps. And I just double knotted that on there. Next I'm going to add a star. And you can decide what sequence you want your objects to go in, how close they are together. I'm spacing mine a little bit farther apart. Little stars are going to get caught on things, so I don't want them too close. I just double knotted that on. And next I'm going to add one of the papers. So I was fortunate, I have a hole punch, so I just made a little hole. You can just make a little hole with scissors if you don't have a hole punch. And for some of, like you'll see on this one, I cut into interesting shapes. I cut out the part that isn't rainbow and kept the part that is. So you can play around with it, you can cut out hearts or whatever shape that you want. With the paper, you have to be a little bit more careful when you're tying it, just because you don't want to rip the paper. So I kind of double knotted it, and now I'm just slowly tightening it so it stays, but it won't rip the paper. And I'm just going to do one more knot just in case. That became a little bit more than a knot. That's okay. There you go, and then it's secure. And so what I'll keep doing is I'll keep adding beads and the paper until I have a full strand like this one. And here we have our finished wind chime. Once you've finished all of your strands, all you have to do is tie them to the popsicle stick. Using a slip knot is best, but if you just do regular knots and then secure it with hot glue, that works as well. But now you have your finished wind chime with your rainbow paper. The rainbow paper is a really great craft, so you can use it. They're great for cards as well. Today we used it for a wind chime, but it's really great to cut them out in different shapes and put them on cards. So I want to thank the Science Kiddo once again for giving us the instructions, for letting us use their instructions on making the rainbow paper. I think it was a really fun craft, and I hope you guys had fun making your wind chime today. and I hope you all have a very wonderful day.